And we are so proud of doing this podcast for you. And I want to thank you all for joining us, being subscribers. You make us feel really good, and I hope that you're getting a lot of information on this. I also would like you guys or girls out there to let us know what you want to see, what you want to hear. If there's anybody that wants to be interviewed by us, drop us a line. We'll come out. We'll either come out in person, or we can do it on Zoom. It would just be a very cordial interview, and after we get your story, we'll edit it and we'll let you see it before we put it on the air. That way there you're comfortable with the job that we do, and you'll have your story out there, memorialized forever on YouTube. So once again, thank you so much. I'm going to turn this over to Fred right now. He's going to talk to you a little bit, tell you about his side of things. Go ahead, Fred.
Good morning. The agency has made the statement that they've reached 2,500 additional controllers for 2025 in the training cycle. But what I wanted to talk about is the training coming out of the academy is the basic milestone that the person coming out has the potential to make it to the full performance level professional air traffic controller. It takes any place from 3 to 5 years to make a fully qualified controller, and I had situations that I remember, a doctor or lawyer goes through 4 years of college, then 3 years of specialized law school or medical school, and then a residency.
Remember the sit on the talking head.
The training it takes to make a professional air traffic controller can take any place from 3 to 5 years. And I had a situation where this one time I had been a controller for about 6 years. I had been fully qualified for about 1.5 years, and I was going out on a break. As I was going out on a break, I walked past my supervisor. He was watching a young trainee named John who had his first 2 sectors. He passed his first 2 sectors and he was working. And my supervisor was watching him, and he says to me, "I want you to take the sector." So John was losing the picture. I plugged in. He said, "What are you doing?" "I've got it." I said, "No, you don't. I'm taking it." And when we got him out and he sat down, I started to look at the traffic, and I realized there was one extra airplane. As I looked at the flight plan information I had, I was able to figure out that there was an extra airplane, and it was a King Air. So from experience, I started leveling any jets climbing out below that traffic, and I worked to find that King Air. Once I found the King Air, I was able to maneuver the other airplanes to keep climbing. That was quite the experience. And another situation I had as a full performance controller, I was working in a sector one day. I've always told my students, you haven't lived until you work in 20, 25 airplanes and your scope goes blank. It adds new definitions to the word OSH. And I lost my radar, and I went to my backup radar. There was nothing there. I went to my third backup. It wasn't, and nothing there. So from the training I had, I started getting aircraft on certain codes and verifying their positions. And I know I had one group of airplanes all converging at one another. I remember asking an Eastern his position to verify where he was. His response was, "Oh, I don't know, do you really need it?" I said, "Yes, I did." And I continued working to get everybody separated. Fortunately, the radar started coming back, and I was able to find everyone and get everybody on course and onto their destinations. Considering the trauma I had just been through, I was getting relieved and I was getting out. And as I got up, my supervisor was standing there with some technician that had a smirk on his face. My supervisor explains that this was the technician downstairs and he had pulled the wrong plug. As I leaped for his throat and they had to pull me off him, I had aged a few years, but again, it was an experience for me, and those are things that you learn through all the time you're training as a controller. Now also, Rob had various situations that he can still see like they were yesterday.
Well, getting those things out of your head, they're very hard to unsee, especially when you have people that are still in training that really should have been let go a long time ago. And having said that, I remember my check ride at Fort Wayne Goshen up in Chicago Center. This was the East Wing area. And my supervisor was behind me, and after being on the sector for an hour, through a rush from the Heights plant, what I mean by the rush through the Heights plant is we would give away our airspace at Goshen 16,000 feet and above the Heights plant so that they could sequence arrivals in over Heights, Chicago Heights. They'd have to cross east of Heights at 10,000, and they were coming in from the East Coast or coming in over Fort Wayne, and their sequencing would come in up over the top of Goshen, kind of the central point, and then the crossing fix would be Heights plant. They'd also come in over Lafayette from the south. That's complexity that's also out there, crossing the wet jets over the top of those descenders for south outs in Chicago Heights. But anyway, after being on the sector for about an hour, my supervisor unplugged. He told me that I was certified on both of those sectors, and later come to find out that he really didn't have a clue as to what I was doing. It was just overwhelming. He wasn't really certified for a long period of time, and the strike had just happened, so they were really short of controllers up in Chicago. We were working 6 days a week. Having said that, coming down to the Houston Center, we had just taken over the Eagle Lake sector from Austin Specialty. I think, was it Austin? Was it another name before Austin?
Houston.
Oh yeah, it was Houston. It was Houston Specialty. We just changed around all the arrival posts. They wanted to put one arrival post and one departure post in each one of the specialties. So Eagle Lake or Corpus Laredo took the Eagle Lake sector from Houston. My trainee, I won't mention her name. She was in the program for a long period of time, and she was coming down to certify on radar. So I had trained her copious amounts of hours on the Eagle Lake arrival fix and Corpus High. We were taking in the morning rush. My supervisor told me, don't let her parrot you. You just let her go as long as you can. Let her control the traffic. Let's see how she does. Okay. I won't mention my supervisor's name, but I did let her go. We had 33 traffic coming from Mexico. We had 33 traffic coming from the west. Departures off of San Antonio going into Intercontinental, plus all the traffic that was coming in over El Paso that was being taken south from the northwest fix, College Station, to be sequenced over Eagle Lake to mitigate the large amount of traffic flow that was going to happen up over College Station. Wind was out of the west, probably 150 knot jet streams, so at 33,000, they were cooking across the ground over 600 plus. And well, before we sat down, I had discussed the area and the weather information and any of the NOTAMs plus PIREPs with my trainee, and she should have known exactly what kind of configuration we were in and what aircraft were going to be number one if there was a tie, and what aircraft were going to be following those airplanes. So I did as my supervisor said. I didn't say anything. We get the first aircraft comes in, checks in from over Mexico, coming up over the warning area, 33,000 flight level. From the west, a couple more 33s. And then we get a departure off of San Antonio that's supposed to climb to 24, and then back down to 10,000, hit Lissy at 10,000. all of these aircraft, not one of them issued anything but Houston Center, Roger. That was their check-on, and that was the last thing that person said to them. So I got to the point where the traffic coming up from Mexico was maybe 45 miles from Lissy, and I knew that they were going to get down. I looked at my supervisor, I got to take this. He said, yeah, okay. So I start the aircraft down. That aircraft ends up getting a big 360 because the traffic on the west was just smoking along. Long story short, got off the sector. Man, I'm telling you, I must have had sweat all the way down from my armpits to my waist, trying to recover from all that. I sent my trainee to the cafeteria. I went back in the back room with my supervisor. We had a discussion about, am I going to recommend it for certification? Or what am I going to write on the training report? Because we had those forms. I told her I'm going to write down everything that I saw, all the mistakes, and give her the references to the 7110.65. And he says, you're going to recommend her? I thought, you got to be kidding me. You just watched that cluster F out there? I don't think so. And then he said, you did a good job recovering all that. I said, thank you. I went out and I reviewed those things. I told my supervisor that I'll make sure that she has more information on how to sequence, whether I got to use salt shakers and pepper shakers and knives and forks, anything to explain how to sequence aircraft, moving them in. When the traffic is coming from the west and it's got a tailwind, guess who's going to be number one? Should there be a tie? And make sure you get those airplanes down. They can't, you can't land at 33,000 feet. And they got a restriction to make at Gland at 10,000, which is only about 40 miles southwest of Houston Intercontinental Airport. I got selected as a supervisor a few days later, so my trainee got handed off to an excellent instructor named Bill Stokes. And sorry to say, Bill is no longer with us, but man, that guy had the patience of Job. He was an amazing instructor, probably the best I've ever seen in my career as a controller or supervisor or manager. And he had the demeanor for it, and he was able to explain things perfectly, and he only had one student that didn't make it, and that was the one that I handed off to him after I left, because I was telling Fred this person couldn't separate two flies with a screen door. I could use another analogy, but we can't put that on the air. So now that we're talking about training, I got a little email from a good friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name, but I will put his picture up there in a second, if you be so kind to indulge me here. Yes, there we go. This information, could you get us up there?
Please don't be shocked, it's not pretty.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to mention his name, but I am going to put his picture up so that you can see who it is. This is raw. He sent me this email. We talked yesterday about training and what we should be doing for training. Can you do the laptop?
It's black. What is it? Is it plugged in?
You're plugged in. Huh. Hold on. Let me see this.
You unplug it, plug it in?
Yeah. Okay, a little technical difficulty here, but we'll get back to it. Try it now. I see HDMI circling. There we go. That's a pretty face. Like I say, I'm not going to mention his name, but he sent me this email, and it's kind of raw, so I'll try to filter as much as possible. I know he wouldn't appreciate me filtering it because I told him I'd read it as is, but some things, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, and not that we're looking to get flies. But so he starting off the basic numbers of errors, loss of separation, runway inclusions, all are unbelievable, stupid, incompetent levels. How did we get there? In his humble opinion, after reading a lot, listening and seeing posts of current and recently current controllers regarding training time, it leads me to several possible conclusions. One, the agency has no accountability in the ranks, from the top to the bottom. Not one person has been held accountable for any errors, loss of separation, disastrous training times, mediocre abilities, and even drug use. Two, the DEI, quote, poor baby, unquote, we won't want to hurt your feelings, permeates it. the agency, from the top to the bottom. That has to change immediately, and I certainly agree with that. It furthers the no accountability of anyone. We're not using the training facilities of our centers and larger RAPCONs to train new hirees. I can't agree with it more with that. So here's one of those, if I were king of the FAA deals, as to what I would do. And I'm not going to mention your name, but I always thought you were king of the FAA. Number one, get every manager to DC and have a sit down and effectively tell them you're accountable for operation errors, incursions. Every failure to do the job is on your back. Any facility that has more than so many amounts of issues, the manager will be fired. Reduce back to a controller trainee accountability. Number two, decertify or suspend the contract. I wouldn't say suspend it, I would just say go back into negotiation and make sure that that negotiation entitles you to hold those controllers for their performance in any way, shape, or form that you need to. That was my little excerpt. All controllers involved, any loss of separation, error, runway incursion, etc. will be immediately removed from the operations and assigned to admin duties until a review board is formed and completed. The review board will be comprised of the controllers associated with the issue at hand, the supervisor of that controller, and a second level supervisor, so that would be OM, along with a quality assurance and DC assigned evaluator. All performance issues will result in additional training, reduction if needed in grade, and or removal from the FAA. Now that's pretty harsh, but we're at a point now where these errors are mounting and something needs to be done, as drastic as that might sound. That's probably a good remedy. You'd send all new hirees from CTI schools or with military controller training directly to the facility to train. Absolutely. No need to learn another area, a training area, and then come to the facility when you've already got the background and the fundamentals in air traffic control. I agree with you 100%, Jerry. Local training facilities will be evaluated based on outcomes of training, and every person in the agency that has not taken the aptitude test will be tested within 60 days of that notice. An evaluation of high aptitude scores versus training times will be conducted for historical purposes, along with historical record of aptitude tests, scores, and associated errors, training times, loss of separation, etc. You'll hold every OJT instructor accountable for training and certification along with the trainee's ability. Imagine that. In other words, the OJT instructor is held accountable for being a good instructor. Now imagine that scenario that I just got through talking about. What do you think I would have done if this was implied for me, if this was implemented and I was there? That trainee would have been gone a long time before that, and there was ample documentation for that too. All trainees with more than 100 hours of OJT shall be given certification evaluation check ride. So if you've already exceeded the limit, when this goes into effect, you will be checked out or you will not be checked out. The evaluation will result in only two outcomes: certification and or additional 12 hours. That additional 12 hours will be final, up or out. The evaluation check ride will be conducted with the trainee supervisor, an OJT instructor, and the supervisor, OM, evaluating the performance of the trainee, and all will be held accountable for the trainee's performance. If you check them out, you'll be held accountable for their success or lack of success. The FAA should hire at least 4,000 controllers each year for the next 4 years, and program should be up or out. That way there, you'll keep those numbers down, and eventually, after 4 years, you will have backfilled the FAA, and you'll have 4-year hiatus from when those people hit retirement time to when they need to check out, which it normally takes about 4 years for the average FPL. You remove managers and supervisors that fail to produce successful controllers. Do it nationwide. You monitor and control training hours and overtime in larger facilities, and you won't allow controllers to milk the issue. It is a well-known concept that in more infamous facilities, controllers will take a day off and then work the overtime. That'll stop when we get new managers. Additionally, I think some sort of video recording of all check rides shall be done, so that a review of that evaluation is not just opinion of the three people and can be reviewed in the prevent the trainee's subsequent performance. His last note is, there's no accountability, and that is the central issue to performance. And you can go back to us. And I can't agree with him more on a lot of those items. The accountability is horrible, and there's no meat, there's no strength behind or backing of those supervisors or instructors right now. Their fallback is to have a training review. You go upstairs, they get additional hours. I mean, you got people out there, at one time, I think they had over 400 hours in training. And some of them, and I don't mean there's anything bad about the rehirees, some of them were rehired after the 81 controller strike, and they just came back, sat on the training sector, never checked out, and retired. So, do you find that effective use of your tax dollars? That to me is an embarrassment, a total embarrassment, and on the face of the FAA. And who allowed that? Who would actually allow people to sit on a training sector and get retirement? Something wrong with that. What do you think, Fred?
I think we're talking 40 years ago, if not longer.
No.
And the new training situations,
I was asking you to get
the new training situations have backed off on the demands. The instructors they're qualified, but the qualifications aren't as stringent as they used to be. We demanded that the trainees handle heavier traffic situations. Now, a large percentage of the traffic is restricted. It used to be that we met the demands of the system. Now we restrict the system to meet the capabilities of the employee. Traffic management across the country and the world is very important to balancing out all that traffic. And that's why a lot of these aircraft sit on the ground and wait till the traffic moves by and gets stretched out. There's only so much airspace you can put up there. We are getting aircraft that can go higher, that help to allow us to put more traffic up in the sky.
And faster.
Yeah, and faster. But eventually they got to come down and all meet at a runway and an airport. The things we're developing now are in the autonomous area of vehicles, and there is
What do you mean by autonomous vehicles?
they're vehicles without a pilot in them, and they actually fly. They fly. They go to their destination, and they land. There you go. They land without a pilot on board, but they are being controlled. And if you look at this, they are being controlled, and that group of aircraft/drones are being controlled from one airplane. From a military aspect, the pilot on his screen has any place from 5 to 10 drones. He determines what targets are threats and directs one of those drones to break away and go towards that target to destroy it. Less pilots, more drones, and more computers. At some point they talk about single pilot commercial airplanes or no pilot commercial airplanes. I don't know how you feel, but I'm not crazy about getting on the airplane and hearing the announcement that this is Otto the autopilot.
Really? Where's the redundancy there? Imagine, no redundancy. You know, President Trump today gave a couple of speeches, and one of the things that he talked about was the drones, that the United States has just gotten a drone type strike package, completely autonomous. They just launch these things in the air, program them, and AI effectively goes into getting those aircraft from point A to point B, executing the mission, and returning with no loss of American life if they get shot down, if they can be seen. I mean, these are all stealth aircraft, so that is a very powerful tool to use, and it's one of those, if you have the big stick, people won't bother you, you know. So that's something that I appreciate, knowing that our security of this country is pretty much intact, that we have the best, latest and greatest devices to protect, to keep our sovereignty. So,
Is there anybody out there that has questions?
yeah, yes. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns? The chat box is open. I don't know if you can see it out there. I've typed a couple of times. I know we got a few people watching, so let's engage. If you're watching, could you let me know that you hear us and how the sound is? We worked extensively on the sound for the last, I don't know, 20 shows, and I think we've actually got it nailed nice and quiet. You should be able to hear us perfectly. Anybody out there? Let me see. Oh, okay, I was just checking on Jack if he was watching, and he just said, no, he's not watching. Sorry, Jack, but if anybody out there is watching, could you just give us a quick text in the chat box to let us know how our sound is, okay?
Peggy should be out there.
Oh, Peggy, are you out there? Could you give us a yes or no, a thumbs up emoji if you can hear us? Anything else on these autonomous aircraft, Fred?
No, that covers the area where we're at now.
Great. So, moving along, time for our advertisement section of our program. If you look on your screen, Malcolm will be showing you some of our merch out there. Hey, we have this nice booklet that you can purchase, $5 online. We have these amazing white and black t-shirts with our Behind the Scope logo on it. We also have our coffee cups, 15 ounce, and you can personalize it on the back. You can put a picture of where you used to work, or if you want to have your name, the facility you worked at, the sectors that you worked at emblazoned on the back, we can definitely personalize that for you. And we can also give you one of these beautiful tumblers with our logo and our QR code on the back. That way there, while you're drinking coffee, people could be talking to you and hitting that QR code so that they can come and join our channel. Last thing that I'm going to show you is this really striking and lovely luggage tag that you'll have your name on the bottom of it if you want, or just your name and where it should go should it get lost, with our amazing logo once again printed on it. They're only one-sided, so if you need to put something on the back, you can also do that. And Fred and I are discussing a new program for subscriptions that if you subscribe to our channel at a later date, we will probably do a per-cost subscription, but the cost will cover you getting one of these items in the mail after you subscribe. And if you get so many people to also subscribe, well, we will send you some more merchandise, because you can never have enough Behind the Scope merchandise. Isn't that right, Fred?
Yes, and what happened to the...
Oh, not yet.
Oh, not
Anything
yet.
else?
No, that covers that, but we have an announcement about...
Yeah, we do have an announcement. Look at this. What is that? Well, the Ellington Air Show is coming up. So we have purchased one day at the Ellington Air Show, and what do they get?
2 tickets to the pit photography position, and a $260 cost, and we're going to excuse me, we're going to be raffling those off.
Yeah. So if you look online, I'm going to have a post up online under the post or in the community that'll give you the opportunity to bid. The highest bidder for this will get these tickets mailed to them, or I'll get a screenshot so you can use the QR code, and you'll be able to go to Ellington Wings Over Euston on Sunday for the entire day and be in the pit area, right?
With the Thunderbirds.
With the Thunderbirds, imagine that. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that you guys, or you gals, thank you, Peggy, appreciate that. I hope that everybody participates. And remember, I'll have that subscription program coming up online pretty soon also. And I will also do a video explaining how exactly that works out. And that's right, Peggy, the 19th of October. Wings Over Euston, the 19th of October. Get your tickets here. To the highest bidder will go the tickets. So, and we'll let you know. Okay. Fred, anything else?
No, we covered it all today.
Yeah. I'd like to get some of your feedback on our stories. And I would love to discuss any of the stories with you if you have questions. And if you have questions of those controllers that gave those stories, I can always contact them and get your answers from them directly. So I just want to thank you all again. 1,800,000 views on our channel. And guess what? Next week in October will be our 1-year anniversary. Actually on the air 1 year with over 200 and I believe it's 6,000 subscribers. That's you guys, y'all out there, keeping our channel alive, keeping it going. So I guess we're telling you the things that you really want to hear, and I appreciate you, and Fred appreciates you following us, because we enjoy doing this, right, Fred?
Oh, yeah, enjoy it a lot.
There's nothing like sitting down and having bagels and coffee with Fred to bump around our stories. And a special thanks out there to our crew, Malcolm, our IT guy, and Ron Green, our cameraman, Josh Pitts, second camera and grip, Nicole Rivera, our behind-the-scenes photographer. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody?
No.
Who am I missing, Malcolm? Anybody? And our supporters, our big supporters, Jack Overfield, Jerry Strickland, right? You guys, always on for the shows. We really appreciate you. Big thank you to Peggy. That's Fred's wife. She did the logo on these shirts. That's the logo that you see behind us also. Amazing person, amazing artist, and just a really all-around nice lady. I don't know how Fred got so lucky.
And the T-shirts look better on her than me.
Anything looks better on her than on you.
That's true.
So anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. Fred, anything else you want to add? Say goodbye? Or?
We'll be here next week to celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
Yes, we will. So from us, be safe and learn to love one another out there, please. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.